Hey everybody, and welcome to Hurricane Game Day, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Filling in for Joe Zagacki, I'm your host, Kelly Sacco. Coming up later in our show, we'll be speaking to baseball head coach Jim Morris and director of track and field, Amy Dean. But first, it is March, and what's March without a little bit of madness? That's right, we're going to be talking some basketball. It's the first time ever that both the men's and the women's team have made back-to-back appearances in the NCAA tournament. So let's start with the men. They'll be taking on Michigan State this Friday in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Here's what Coach L had to say about the selection.
Well, first of all, my relationship with their head coach, Tom Izzo, goes way back. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's an absolutely great individual, a great leader in college basketball, not just for his program, but I think in the nation. He's done a tremendous job of building a national championship caliber team every single year, and they have a very specific way they play. My Bowling Green teams, George Mason teams, and our Miami team have played against them throughout the last 20 years, so we're looking forward to playing them. We have the utmost respect for the Michigan State program.
Knowing what you know about Tom Izzo and that team and the program, how do you think you guys match up with them, just their style of play in general?
Well, if I had to compare them to anybody, they're very, very similar to North Carolina. Mm-hmm. They have very specific things that they do. When I talked to my team about preparing for North Carolina, I said the very first thing you have to do is prevent the 5-second layup, because there's two programs that pride themselves on scoring even right after you score within the first 5 seconds. And the two best in the country, in my estimation, are North Carolina and Michigan State. Michigan State is also recognized as one of the best rebounding programs in the country. Normally they lead the country in rebounding. And that's been a trademark of all Tom Izzo's teams.
You've talked about a lot about what Michigan State does so well, but what's working in your favor?
Well, I think our young players have really come along of late, and our upperclassmen have been very, very good throughout the season. So if we can have great balance between the offense and defense, where our young guys are really defending at the level our upperclassmen are, that gives us a chance at the defensive end. If our underclassmen can give us some scoring, like Bruce Brown, DeJuan Ewell, DJ Vasilovich, if they can give us some offensive punch, that really helps us offensively, because, again, the upperclassmen of Davon Reed, Jaquan Newton, and Kamari Murphy have been playing well at both ends of the court.
The women will also go dancing right here in Miami. That's right, for the first time in 24 years, the women will be hosting the first round of the NCAA tournament as they take on Florida Gulf Coast at 4 p.m. this Saturday at the Watsco Center. Here's what Coach Meyer had to say about the selection.
It's a big moment. You know, we've been a 3 seed a couple times, and just by nature of some of the ways they changed the rules, we didn't get to host, and you know, we just haven't had a break, and it's just so nice. Not that this is lucky. I mean, we earned it. I thought our RPI was real solid, and I felt good about our chances, but you never know. But to see those kids erupt like that, I'll tell you, and not just them, but you know, Blake and Jen, the athletic director and the deputy AD, all the time they put in. So it's just everybody. It's not. That moment was just not about me at all, but this is awesome.
Every team is
we did. We saw Coral Gables, and I was happy for Keegs. I mean, you know, Carolyn Keeger at Marquette's like a family. So, we were joking around the other day, and I was like, well, we can't play each other because our seating's so far apart. And then they went and won the tournament, and I was like, well, gosh. So, but we saw Marquette, and we went crazy, and I was like, Coral Gables, and so that was great. So that just feels like, you know, meant to be kind of deal.
this team on their home floor. What does that do for this team?
Well, at the beginning of the year, I went at them pretty hard, and I said, you know, one game last year, we lost to Syracuse at home, and Syracuse got the host, and we didn't, and then they marched on through the tournament and got to the Final Four, the national championship game, and, you know, I just didn't think we were that far away. I said, if that ball bounces our way against Syracuse, is that us? So I really put that in front of the team this year. And we hosted a Thanksgiving tournament, and we hosted a Christmas tournament, and I said, let's host one more. And we said that at the first team meeting. You know, that's how I ended the meeting. It's like, let's host 3 tournaments and win all 3 of them. Oh, it's going to be just high-level basketball. I mean, I look at that bracket, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like a lot of assists. You know, the ball's going to be a short time per touch, all 4 of those teams, and we play with a ton of emotion. I think you saw that we live with a ton of emotion, and I've always had that philosophy, and I don't shy away from it. I think the most excited team wins most of the time, and we're pretty darn excited right now.
For more information on tickets or how you can watch, please visit hurricanesports.com. Miami baseball started their ACC play last weekend as they hosted Georgia Tech. Let's take a look at those highlights brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
Pitch to Burns, smacked into right center field. That should get down and score at least one, maybe two. A two-run triple for Michael Burns. Romy Gonzalez lines it down the right field line, hooking. It's a fair ball. Romy Gonzalez delivers for the U. Line into left field. It is a fair ball. It's a two-run double. Payoff pitch. Called strike three. Gomez has time, and he gets it there in time. Payoff pitch, driven into right center field, and just like that, it's a tie ball game. 0-2 to Michelangeli, driven to left field, going back is Murray. It's off the scoreboard. Edgar Michelangeli. Michael Burns, deep left field, gone. Grand slam. Dowder over the left field fence. It's 13-4 Hurricanes.
Welcome back to Hurricane Game Day. I'm joined here by Hurricanes baseball head coach Jim Morris. Coach, congratulations on this past weekend series. First ACC series of the year. Took 2 of 3 from the Yellow Jackets. Tell us about how important it was to take this opening series after such a rocky start.
Well, it's important to take any series. We were struggling, no question about it, but Georgia Tech was ranked 17th in the country coming in here, and got some great athletes can really hit, some big guys that can really hit. That's what they're known for, and we're known more for pitching, I guess, and they're known more for hitting. But it was a huge series for us, a win to get a confidence going. But we were hitting like 175, 180 as a team coming into the series, and we hit 339 for the series and scored a bunch of runs, and it was something we haven't seen. So, and a hitting thing I think is kind of contagious either way. We were in a team slump hitting, and now all of a sudden it's contagious. Everybody was starting to hit, so that's a great thing.
So like you mentioned, the offensive struggles were there in the beginning of the year, but this past weekend, 37 total hits, 32 runs scored over those past 3 games. What clicked offensively?
Well, I don't know. Other than our guys work hard. Our guys work very hard, and Gino and Lopez Lopez works with them very hard in the cages, and they get a lot of hitting in, and just baseball. I mean, you got to understand that baseball, if you hit 300, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. And so you're a failure 70% of the time. And that can really get to you mentally, and right now our guys feel good about themselves. And I think it's a mental thing, once they get that going and they're working hard and things start happening and they start swinging the bat, and good things come.
And that mental toughness is just as important as the physical part of this game. Because of those offensive struggles, we've seen a different lineup from game to game. Over this past weekend, we've seen James Davison emerge as a leadoff batter. What qualities do you see in him that makes him good for that leadoff spot?
Well, he can really run. He's very quick. That first step is he's at full speed, it looks like, when he's still on the base there. And for him to get on base, and before the game, before this series, it was questionable, and we needed him to do that because he's the guy that can really ignite the offense. So we were fortunate. He was fortunate. He got it going for the weekend, particularly Sunday. He was up 6 times. He got on base 6 times. He got 3 hits, a walk. He got hit twice, and so that means he's going to steal bases, which means he's going to also score runs. So it was a big part of that.
Well, you mentioned that the team is known for the strengths in pitching, so let's talk about Michael Mediavilla, who had struggles early, but this past weekend he had a career high, 11 strikeouts. What can you say about him, that mental toughness to stay positive and get through those early struggles?
Well, I think JD does a great job with the pitching and talking to those guys and trying to keep their confidence up. I mean, Mike is a guy that started out last year as our Sunday starter and ended up as our #1 guy on Friday night. So, for me in a team meeting, I know on Saturday, I just reminded him of that and said, hey, we need you. We know you can do it. Now let's pitch like last year. And he looked more like himself. He threw a lot of off-speed stuff over. I mean, Georgia Tech's a dead fastball hitting club, and you got to throw some off-speed stuff.
So more ACC play this weekend. You guys are at NC State. What does the team need to do to continue on with this success?
Well, I mean, I think we need to swing the bat, continue to do that and get some big hits and get those guys on base. And we've been pitching pretty good all year and play some solid defense. I mean, Coach State's got a good team. They started out the top 20 in all the polls and struggled a little bit early. They went to Hawaii for a trip. And for me, I don't like going to Hawaii, to be honest with you, because it's such a transition getting back that I think you're tired. For me, I'm tired for a month. I think the players are tired for a week or two, and I've been there 8 times. So I think I don't like that trip personally for a team. It's just so far, and I think it puts a lot of pressure on you coming back from there physically.
Of course. I mean, just the travel in general as student athletes, they also have class, and they're also getting back and forth. And you guys are on the road for a couple weeks here.
Yeah, we are. Well, we got a big series on the road to North Carolina State, and then the next weekend we go to North Carolina, and Carolina's ranked in the top 20 in the country. So it's going to be a lot of pressure on us to get it done against really good clubs and win on the road. And if you're going to win the ACC, which we've won our division the last 3 years, you got to win on the road too. So it'll be a good challenge for us. But I feel good because number one, our pitching, our starting pitcher is very good, and our bullpen's good, and we just got to score a few runs and play some good defense, then we'll be in good shape.
So last thing, Coach, before we let you go, anything else stand out to you over this weekend's wins?
Hit.
Hit. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, that's right. I hadn't seen it this year, so I was very concerned about it. I knew our guys hit better in inter-squad games against our pitching, and I think our pitching's good than we were hitting against the other teams. And now for them to step it up and hit it against the outside thing, that's very important.
Well, Coach, thanks again for joining us, and best of luck this weekend. We'll be right back here on Hurricane Game Day. Welcome back to Hurricane Game Day, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Please join me in welcoming the Director of Track and Field, Amy Dean. Coach, first of all, congratulations on back-to-back ACC titles.
Thank you very much.
Your team just competed at NCAAs over the weekend. 8 All-American honors. Let's start with your 400-meter NCAA champion, Shakima Wembley.
She had actually a great indoor season. She had a lot of goals coming off the Olympic trials last year and finishing 3rd at the NCAA outdoor meet. And one was to even, just to make a final at the NCAA indoor meet. So just to watch her compete with such composure and confidence, I've said that several times this year. Indoors a little bit more of a challenge for her than outdoors. So for her to just go in and be unbeaten this indoor season and to come away with the NCAA championship and to do all the things she's done at the ACC. She's never been beat in the 200-meter ACC indoor championship. So just a tremendous, accomplishments this year and throughout her career. So I'm just glad for it all to come to an end with an NCAA championship. So.
You've been coaching for over 25 years, Coach, a lot of great athletes. How does she compare to some of your prior athletes? She
has her upside and her future are so bright in the sport. She's very young still in the sport. Just she doesn't have the exposure that a lot of the athletes had coming into college. She didn't run, she didn't travel a lot. She didn't make an international team as a junior. So for her, her future is so bright, and there's still so much more room for improvement in some areas. So I'm looking forward to see where her career leads her after, competing outdoors this year.
And she's a senior, but the future is bright for your team with sophomores Michelle Atherley and Brittany Ellis. How was their performance?
This was Brittany's first championship, so her first indoor national championship. So for her to go and be an All-American and to make the final, she didn't run quite as fast as she wanted to, but to be able to go there and to make a final and to be an All-American and score points, that's a great honor for her. And Michelle was there last year at Auburn University before she transferred here, but for her to come and compete so well, a personal best, a school record, just go out and really fight through the pentathlon, and then come back and run a great leg on our 4x4. Again, we'll miss Shakima, but we do have a bright future with the young people on our team.
So indoor season is over and outdoor season begins. How can outdoor kind of be an advantage for?
Well, one thing is we get the next 3 out of 4 weekends we're at home, so we don't have to travel to an indoor facility, now, and so we have the advantage of staying home and kind of regrouping, going back to training a little bit, but still being able to compete on the weekends at home. So and then just being outside. Not a lot of people train on an indoor facility unless you have to, but for us just to be able to to come home and train in this weather. The Northeast is under a blizzard right now, and we have 80-degree weather and sunshine. So, we're looking forward to getting back to work and competing at home in front of our family and friends. And so it's, but for us, it's something we do every day. So it's a lot more, there's more of a comfort zone there.
Definitely nice to be here in sunny Miami when everyone else is going through a blizzard.
Exactly.
Your 2017 outdoor schedule, let's talk a little bit more about what you have coming up.
This weekend we have a meet. We'll get host several spring break teams. This is a time of year where a lot of universities are on spring break. So South Carolina's coming down. Boston University, hopefully they get out on Thursday or Friday. So so we've got a good group of people. Always welcome Florida Atlantic, FIU to our facility. So that's this weekend. Next weekend we have it's more Division I teams only, collegiate, where we have the Florida Gators coming down, Clemson Tigers, which is a big ACC rival. Virginia's coming. As well as Kansas State. So it's a nice mix of teams throughout the country. So we're looking forward. We'll see. We'll do a little bit this weekend coming off spring break and really give our young people that haven't had an opportunity to run much since conference. They'll have a big role in our meet this weekend, and then probably start working the NCAA, Shakima, and those girls back into the meet then. And then we go to Florida Relays, which is always a great meet to compete at, a lot of great competition. Plus they also host a high school, some of the top high school kids in the state of Florida. So you always want to showcase your program there as well. And then back home for our alumni meet. So it's a busy 4 weeks for us, but we're excited to be outdoors and get back at it.
A lot of great things coming up for fans who want to support this weekend. When could they show up? What are the details?
The best time to show up would be Saturday at right around 1 o'clock. We have a couple field events in the morning, the JAV, and then also, but mostly like 12, 1 o'clock, the meet really gets going with the 4x1. And pretty much throughout the afternoon, we should be done right around 4:30, 5 o'clock with the 4x4. But there'll be a lot of good track. South Carolina has a good program. So they're bringing a big group down. So should be some really good track and field this weekend.
Well, best of luck this weekend. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be right back on Hurricane Game Day. Welcome back to Hurricane Game Day, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Now, let's take a look at our upcoming home schedule. It is a busy week for the Hurricanes. Starting this weekend, track and field begin their outdoor season with a Hurricane Invitational. Then on Friday, both men's and women's tennis are in action. Men take on Minnesota at 10 a.m. Then later in the day, the women take on North Carolina. On Saturday, women's basketball for the first round of the NCAA tournament. They will be facing Florida Gulf Coast at 4 p.m. On Sunday, women's tennis is back against Duke. The next Wednesday, March 22nd, baseball will take on FAU. For more information on how you can purchase tickets, please visit hurricanesports.com. A special thank you to Coach Jim Morris and Amy Dean for visiting us on today's show, and a very special thank you for you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of Hurricane Game Day. I'm Kelly Sacco. Go Canes!